Hello, I'm joining you from Washington, D.C. Really glad to be connected from my desk to yours. The COVID-19 pandemic has brought us all to confront what global connections can transmit. Many observers argue that COVID-19 is hammering the last nail to the coffin of globalization. Does it? Or does COVID-19 serve as a tipping point towards a new normal of globalization? One thing is for sure, globalism as an ideology has been under attack well before the pandemic crisis. In recent years, we've seen rapid rise of populism, nationalism, isolationism in all continents. Why so? Hasn't globalization brought to the world enormous benefits? The answer is it has. In fact, as an indicator of global well-being, life expectancy has been rising across the rich and poor countries. And worldwide, more than 1 billion people have been lifted out of poverty. Emerging markets, with a growth pace of 2 to 3 times that of the advanced economies, are moving towards accounting for almost half of the global economy as compared to a share of only 20% 20 years ago. However, while we see convergence across nations, we see disparities within country on the rise.
If we look at all the headlines in the major media regarding globalization, probably the single biggest statement that we read is that this is the end of globalization. In my view, this is almost like somebody in the year 2000 looking at declining sales of chemical films and concluding that this is the end of photography. No, far from it. In fact, globalization is alive and ever well. And because of the digital factors, it's becoming actually more powerful. So let me address 4 key questions. Number 1 is, what is the evidence regarding the rise of digital globalization? Second, in the real world, what are the concrete ways in which digital globalization manifests itself? Number 3, what are the economic consequences of digital globalization? How much does it matter compared to the old globalization, which is trade in physical goods? And finally, what are the public policy implications of this new era of digital globalization? Taking the first question about the evidence regarding the rise of digital globalization, if we look at data from International Telecommunications Union, Telegeography, and other sources, for at least the last couple of decades, cross-border flows of data have been growing at about 50% a year. That is about 50 times the rate of growth in world population and 15 to 20 times the rate of growth in world GDP.